conservatives have been disgusting for years, which is why I don't give a fuck about anybody that winds up at any of these rallies and gets shot or whatever the fuck. The entire world would be better off if these people were permanently removed from these platforms.
We are here live at Utah Valley State University. Charlie Kirk has been shot in the neck.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed. You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed. You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed.
Stephen Bonnell II, aka Destiny, spoke at an event. Supposedly he's done this similar event called Un-F America College Debate Event. So essentially he's speaking to college students under a tent holding a microphone in a very similar fashion to someone who passed away recently, who was murdered. And that man, Charlie Kirk, who pretty much paved the way for doing this kind of event, other than maybe Steven Crowder and a few others. Yeah, Destiny hasn't really done these events. He's done like a handful of them, but he wasn't really known for doing this in this style. And so I just find it incredibly insensitive and incredibly disingenuous what he's doing, where he's debating students at a college campus, pretty much copycatting what Charlie Kirk would do. And it's only been 8 days after Charlie Kirk's death where he's going out here to a college and doing this. And so it just seems to be disrespectful, and it's almost like an insult because one voice on the conservative side has been eliminated. And he's already a little more than a week later coming out here to a campus and doing a Charlie Kirk style event, or at least he's a guest at this event. And he streamed it on his channel, which had terrible audio, by the way.
One of the big issues that we deal with right now in our political system is when we talk about the left, we're talking about
But that's aside from the point. The point is that I just felt like the optics for this don't really look very good. It looks kind of cheap. It's like a cheap shot, the way that I see it. I think there was one guy that grabbed the microphone that, said that he voted for Trump. I think it was actually, let's see if we scrub through here. There was another guy that came out. Oh, there he is. This guy here said that he voted for Trump, pretty much challenged Destiny. He actually asked Destiny if he was going to condemn the violence that was done against Charlie Kirk.
Do you unequivocally disavow the assassination of Charlie Kirk right now today?
What I unequivocally, this is the same, I've done this over and over again. I think that the President of the United States needs to lead on this. And my question is, why are people on the right so obsessed with talking to people on the left and getting them to disavow over and over again when the President of the United States wants to disavow?
Destiny pretty much did the same thing he did on Piers Morgan, where he deflected and then pivoted to Trump. And basically, he put the onus on Trump to denounce violence on both sides.
Destiny joins us now. Destiny, you've been quite active on social media since Charlie Kirk's death. When Erika Kirk posted Charlie's coffin, you responded, she tagged him, brackets, crying face emojis. In response to Alina Haber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags at half-mast in memory of Charlie, you posted on X, buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. And you then posted yesterday, ending every conservative debate call out I'd do in 2026 with don't dodge, bro. That's not what Charlie would have wanted. Do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down.
You see, this is what Destiny does. He tries to act like he's the adult in the room and that he's the sensible one with the most rational position. And it sounds all well and good when he says these kinds of things. But if you watch his stream and you see how he interacts with his base and with his subscribers and his fan base, it's completely the opposite. and you can clearly see the difference. Later on, I will show you the kinds of things that he says. When he's on Piers Morgan, at first he tries to come across as if he's fair and that the Democrats have been so reasonable and that they're the ones that have always tried to bring the energy down or tried to calm everyone down. But the fact of the matter is the Democrats have used hateful rhetoric for a long time, and Destiny's also guilty of that same type of rhetoric.
If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. All of the recent political violence that's happened in this country over the past 20 years, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, everybody gets mad because they keep asking Grok about it, has been conservative.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
A guy from Utah who was raised in a Christian family, who was a 22-year-old
white
dude.
described.
He wasn't
Destiny.
trans. He didn't have
Destiny.
a trans girlfriend. He didn't have any trans
Now,
influence.
once again, Destiny's wrong. He said this on Piers Morgan 5 days after Charlie Kirk's death, and there was more than enough information released already by investigators to determine that Charlie Kirk's shooter, or the alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, had a roommate named Lance Twiggs, and apparently this is a non-binary type person who also identifies as some kind of furry in the furry community, which is largely known to be left-wing, leftist ideology, woke ideology, whatever you want to call it. So Destiny either knows this and is being completely dishonest, trying to deflect and trying to deny it, or he's just completely ignorant of all the facts in the case and doesn't want to know the truth about the killer and who his potential lover was. We also have receipts on the text messages between Tyler Robinson and his roommate / lover, Lance Twiggs, and so we can post those up there for Destiny too if he wants to read them.
He didn't have any trans bullets. Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys were wrong on all of that.
To be clear, the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has made it clear that their investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a leftist ideology, which drove him to do this. That's just
I'm sorry, excuse me, when?
Yesterday, he said that.
No. When was he radicalized? In the 6 months that he did remote college?
I don't know when he was radicalized, but I do know the very reasonable sounding governor of Utah has made it clear that the event. You may not want to hear this.
An ongoing investigation.
You may not want to hear it, Destiny. But
no, Destiny. Read the text messages. Read all the evidence that's available to everybody.
The reality is the investigators, according to the governor of Utah, have established that he was radicalized to a leftist ideology that drove him to murder Charlie Kirk. Now, let me just ask you.
That's just not true.
Let me just
There's
ask
no
you.
way to deal with it.
Okay, you're accusing the governor of lying.
Yeah.
That's your prerogative. But
sure.
If it turns out to have been somebody with a leftist ideology who wanted to shut up Charlie Kirk, would you condemn that?
I won't condemn anything until the president of the United States can go on air and say, all of us need to calm down.
So you won't condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk until Donald Trump says something.
I'm a YouTuber. Leftists and Democrats have been condemning and turning down the temperature, condemning violence, turning down the temperature for a decade. Donald Trump can't go on TV and say, all of us need to calm down.
Right.
Can you tell me why he cannot?
Why would you expect anybody, Destiny?
You can't answer that. Can you answer that question? Why can't Trump go on TV and say,
question?
All of us.
Why is Destiny always acting like Democrats are the ones turning down the temperature for the last 10 years when in reality the left has been more and more violent? Why is Destiny unable to just simply condemn the violence? Why does he need Trump to say anything?
Should be less violent.
Why do you
can't
think?
Trump say that?
Why do you
Why
think?
is your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
Insane right now.
Why do you think?
Your
No, let me ask a
behavior
question.
on Donald Trump?
Let me ask a
Because
question.
he's the president of the United States of America and the leader of the opposing political party.
Destiny. Let me
You
just.
have a huge audience of young men who listen to everything you have to say.
You genuinely do hate conservatives, don't you?
Very much so. I've moved full on to like the political violence level or the real violence level when it comes to conservative people. Yeah, I think they need to be like excised from my country. I think they are demonstrably evil people by any moral system that most people would use. And then I just hate them because they tend to destroy the outcomes related to this country, which is what I'm concerned with. Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready for the great cleansing, dude.
Cleansing?
The cleansing.
What cleansing?
When we genocide conservatives in this country.
Are you gonna be out in the streets with your Glock?
Maybe. I gotta go back to Nebraska and grab it.
So when it doesn't matter. You have a huge audience. And because of the fact that you have a huge audience, you have a responsibility to not turn... No, it hasn't. It hasn't been broken. I actually care about the country and want to bring people together. You do the opposite. You represent the worst of us, Destiny. You're embarrassing.
You should tell Donald...
All right, let me ask Destiny a question.
Watch how easy this is.
Hang on.
I've watched a lot of Destiny, and I've listened to a lot of Destiny over the years, and I have to say that I agree with Anna Kasparian on this one. It's really embarrassing. I used to, at one point in time, have some respect for Destiny, but ever since COVID, I think I've lost a ton of respect for Destiny.
Why do you think, in your campaign for everyone to dial down the temperature, why do you think that mocking the grieving widow of Charlie Kirk when she posts an image of her at the coffin side, why do you think that constitutes turning down the temperature?
You can't turn down the temperature on your own. The president of the United States is
inflame
not
the temperature.
able
You're
to...
mocking
No,
his
it's
widow.
already inflamed.
You're
What are you
mocking his
talking
widow.
about? We've had multiple political assassinations over the past year. What do you mean it's turning up the temperature?
Why did you mock his widow?
Online because
Why did you mock his widow?
Because she's being used as a political weapon right now for conservatives to continue their fight. What do you mean, wow? She's literally doing...
Her husband just got murdered.
On email.
Okay, let's say I'm Destiny. Even if I really did think that, I wouldn't even say that within 5 days after her husband dying.
Yeah, and she's using it to drive up recruitment for
and
a
you
political
can't even
movement.
Condemn the murder. You won't condemn it.
Can't even tell his side
You're
to
so
turn the temperature
deranged
down.
about Trump that you
are
cannot condemn the
unhinged.
murder
It is such
because
a
you're
joke,
waiting
and
for
you guys
Donald
sit here
Trump to
and
say
make money off
something.
of...
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie
it's
Kirk?
unbelievable. I'm not the president of the
Why
United
can't
States.
you
answer that
condemn
question.
the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Unbelievable to me.
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because it wasn't my side that caused it. It should be
Yes,
the
it
one
was.
that is...
Yeah, how much in denial can one person really be? Destiny is really trying to argue right now that Charlie Kirk's murder was caused by the right. Make that make sense. You don't need a political leader to come out first to condemn violence yourself. Why does Trump need to say something before an individual like Destiny just has the moral decency to come out and condemn violence? He's just using Trump as an excuse so then he doesn't have to anger his followers. He doesn't have to anger his subscribers, his far left, extremist, Marxist, liberal audience, which will get angry at him if he does, not all of them, but a good percentage of them will get angry at him if he condemns the violence because they all support it. They all secretly support it behind closed doors, on the other side of the microphone. When there's no recording going on, even blatantly while they're live streaming, they will say the most hateful, disgusting things about people they disagree with politically, and largely against people like Charlie Kirk. They don't bite their tongue. They say how they feel. Him and streamers like Hassan Piker and other far left streamers like Vosh. Yeah, they don't hold back. They say they say whatever their audience wants them to say. Basically, the mob. People like Destiny, he's not going to condemn the violence on the left because it's not popular to say. The mob will criticize him for condemning it. In his view, it gives the conservatives points. I mean, that's how he looks at politics. Is that he thinks it's a game. He looks at it as, that the other team's going to score points, or the other team's going to get the moral high ground. And so he doesn't want to cede any moral high ground. Not that the left had any moral high ground to begin with, but he doesn't want to cede any moral high ground to the right. And so he's not going to condemn the violence on the left. He's going to shift the blame and try to shift it over to Trump because that's all the left does. That's all the Democrats do, is blame Trump for everything. Every time they start losing an argument, or every time you try to pin them down and get them to admit something, their immediate reaction is going to be Trump, 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 Trump. Trump did this, Trump said that, but Trump doesn't do this, and Trump doesn't. When is the left ever going to take accountability for their side and their rhetoric and their speech? What they say that incites violence, what they say that undermines free speech in this country, and what they say that is damaging to our republic. Just recently, Donald Trump said that he's going to designate Antifa as a major terrorist organization. And so I don't know how exactly that's really going to work, because Antifa is not organized. So you can't really say that they're an organization necessarily. But I think that's a step possibly moving in the right direction, because Antifa kind of has gotten away with, for the longest time, claiming that they are merely just protesting, when in reality they're going out and just committing a ton of crimes and causing violence and provoking a lot of people, causing social unrest, causing damage, vandalizing, looting, burning, all of it. It does lead to violence, and they all cover their faces and they dress in all black, and that way they're less likely to be identified, less likely to be responsible for their actions. And I believe that if you really are protesting, why do you need to hide your face? Why do you need to hide your face if you're just protesting and you're doing everything in a legal manner? I think it's cowardice at its finest, and it's about time that Antifa will be held accountable. But the thing is, Antifa is just going to rebrand themselves as something else. They won't call themselves Antifa anymore. They'll just have to rebrand. The left is just going to, the Marxism is constantly rebranding itself as something else. But in the end of the day, they're just Marxists. That's just plain and simple. They're just Marxists. It's all stems from Karl Marx and his ideology. And if you don't know anything about that, I would highly recommend that you do your research and find out who Karl Marx was and what he actually believed in. More than 50%, if not 60% of college campuses, these students lean in a Marxist direction. Regardless, this display by Destiny is just so disgusting. He is such a hypocrite and a liar.
Now listen to what Destiny says as he reacts to the shooting of Charlie Kirk.
Do you know how many massacres there have been in America?
Oh no, how many Oh God, was it about gun violence? Oh no.
You know how many massacres there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Oh no, please don't be right after that. Not after that.
All right, for the next 6 months, I can only talk about things that won't be ironic if I get killed right after. Jesus Christ.
One of Destiny's first reactions while he was watching a video posted on social media about what Charlie Kirk was discussing with students right before he was shot. And all he could do was hold himself back from smiling, and probably what he wanted to do was laugh, as most of his subscribers and followers were in his live chat making jokes and making memes and making fun of the death of their political enemy.
So I want to ask you this, Destiny, because I think we all were obviously scared by what took place the other day, and I'm afraid of possible retribution. You're one of the biggest faces on the left. Are you scared? Does this scare you after what just took place the other day? And have you said to yourself, man, this could happen to any one of us?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty frightening. I mean, it's a thing that you've always kind of contended with if you're in this space and you're going out to places. Like, there have been isolated shootings in the past. There have been influencers that have been killed by crazy stalker people. It feels really bad, I guess. But I mean, at this point, I don't expect the president of the United States to do anything responsible for his citizens.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed.
It's pretty bad to see the president ratchet up the rhetoric, and then to see people like Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire basically doing explicit calls for civil war or violence. Conservatives have been disgusting for years, which is why I don't give a about anybody that winds up at any of these rallies and gets shot or whatever the fuck. The entire world would be better off if these people were permanently removed from these platforms. Like the next person that gets killed in this, whether it's right or left, I would place the blame squarely on their shoulders. Maybe they get off to stuff like that. I saw some tweet with 100,000 some likes where some guy was like, he typed like 20 paragraphs of stuff talking about how he's watching Charlie Kirk getting killed on repeat just to radicalize himself more and more. And it was like one of the most unhinged things I've ever seen in my life. So,
you need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed.
I'm ready for the great cleansing, dude.
Cleansing?
The cleansing.
What cleansing?
When we genocide conservatives in this country.
We need to all call out political violence. It's never the answer, but yet Republicans want to put the blame on the other side. And it just drives me crazy where we're at right now as a country.
Do you know how many massacres there have been in
oh no, how many oh God, was it about gun violence? Oh no.
You know how many massacres there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Oh no, please don't be right after that. Not after that.
All right, for the next 6 months, I can only talk about things that won't be ironic if I get killed right after. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and I would say I'm good at both sides. Just want to say both sides are acting immoral right now. Republicans need to call their side out, and Democrats need to stop. Elizabeth Warren had the only correct answer.
Because we have reached the culmination of what Republicans have been fighting for, angling for decades now, and we are going to fight back. I am angry because of who will pay the price for this.
The Republicans need to tell people to stop. And to see the Democrats say it over and over again.
Congresswoman Maxine Waters says don't let the public shaming stop with Sanders.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
The Congresswoman pushing more division in a nation already seemingly divided.
And so, if he thinks we're pushovers, he got another thought coming. We are prepared to fight. We're prepared to fight. I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Those words have been interpreted as an attempt on the president's life. How did you intend them?
That's absolutely ridiculous.
It's this cycle that we're locked in, this death spiral of bad thing happens. Every Democratic leader comes out and says, guys, we all need to calm down. All the Republicans are saying it's time for war.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature.
And then the cycle repeats over and over and over again. Go figure, the temperature's not being turned down at all. Donald Trump is still ratcheting up the insane rhetoric over and over and over again. 2 days before the shooting, he's posting pictures on Truth Social about going to war in Chicago. Every single thing about this administration is comically over the top.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed.
Like glorifying violence. We're talking about every single thing about this administration. At every single point, they have taken the worst turn to make things more radical and more violent. And he is showing zero willingness to turn it around. Even after one of the most important conservative figures just got assassinated. Like right. Charlie Kirk was probably one of the larger, more influential conservative figures in the United States. And that's not enough to tell him, like, well, maybe we need to all kind of chill a little bit.
And this is a nation that rejects violence as a political tool. We do not encourage violence.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed.